guys, this is me, Malorian, and this will be my coverage of just kind of like my afterthoughts of the King of the North tournament. This was the big tournament I went up to up in Grand Prairie. It was a big, like, almost 5-hour drive. Big bunch of us went up there, even a guy who came in from China, and we were really looking forward to having a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys have already seen the battle reports. I put up 5 from the main steamroller and then also 2 from the team tournament. So I'm going to be talking about those. So I mean, if you haven't watched those, spoilers, so maybe watch those first and come back. But I'm going to be talking about how I thought I did, what I thought about my lists, and pretty much just like the tournament in general. And with that too, I'll be talking about things like, you know, what we really saw there as opposed to the steamroller previous, as far as, you know, like the development of Mark III goes and what we're starting to see in the meta. So first of all, how did I do? Well, not the best. In the main 5-round tournament, I did end up going 3-2. So going into this, I said that 3-2 was going to be my okay, you know, it's a new edition, surprises are going to happen, and I can walk out with, you know, my chin up if I made 3-2. So yeah, I did it. But what I was really targeting for is 4-1. I really didn't think I was going to go 5-0. I knew at some point I'd either do something dumb or I'd be surprised by something or something like that. But, you know, 4-1 is what I was really pushing for. And I didn't get there. I got the 3-1, which is okay, but I was trying to do a little bit better. So why didn't I do better? And part of it is just me making dumb mistakes. On the first day, my 2 losses there, one of them, the worst one, is me just getting greedy and getting Magnus killed. That was the one where it was Magnus versus Sevi 2, and given the matchup and the surprise factor in the scenario, it was hugely in my favor. And the way that it was panning out, I was all over him. I was on attrition, I was on scenario, I was on time. Literally everything being put in my favor, and all I needed to do was either knock down Magnus or to run away. But because I wanted to press things and get a little greedy, my opponent pulls off a great assassination and game over. And so that was really disappointing. You know, I almost had to go through like a whole campaign before, Operation Don't Get Your Caster Killed on turn 2, and I believe that might have actually been turn 2. Yeah, because I went first, jammed, he came back, I destroyed his heavy, and it was all over, and I was on his side of turn 2, he killed my caster. So yeah, guess I'm back to my dumb old ways. So whatever, you know, I got to early watch that. The other loss I had was the one in the first round versus Gord. And again, like I talked about on that one there, that was the Thexus versus Baldur 2 matchup. And, you know, Baldur 2 shuts down Thexus, and Gord's a better player than me, but I had a plan, and the plan was working, and then I decided to deviate from that plan, and it all went down extremely quickly from that point. And so that says something where, you know, I just wish I could go back in time, slap myself and say, stick to your goddamn plan, and just see how that actually worked out. Maybe I could have clocked him, maybe Gord would have just really turned it up and, you know, just slaughtered things, watched the time, and I just still would have lost to attrition anyway. So hard to say, but we'll never know because I didn't give myself a chance. I abandoned the plan to quickly go for something else, and I lost. So, you know, losing is okay, right? You're going to lose some games, but what really gets me is when I lose games because I just do something stupid, right? If I play against someone who's just a better opponent or pull off a great move or surprise me or whatever and I lose, or dice, you know, all these other factors, sure, yeah, it's the game and that's how the game works. But when it's me doing something stupid, those really irk me. Now, I was able to turn that around when both my games on the second day to end up with a good old 3-2, but I still am not happy with my performance. And you know, I always say that sometimes I'm like this Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, where sometimes like jank and craziness, and other times I want to be serious and try and get those wins. Right now, I'm kind of more like, I want to be serious, I want to get those wins. I was there with Thexus. I mean, the Buccaneers thing was a little bit more, I'm not sure if that was the best thing to take. We'll get to the list here in a second. But I was definitely pushing, like I said, to try and get that 4-1. And because of my screw-ups, I didn't get there. So there's that. Now, how about my list? How was I happy with the list? the Thexus one, so again, just a quick recap. Thexus, double Wrecker, double Mindbender, double Mindslaver, double Press Gangers with UA, with the Dominator, and then I get 1 Agitator, free Overlords, and that's it. So that one's very powerful. I'm very happy with that list. I don't really know, from my style of like jam and control, I really can't think of anything else I want to do with that list. I've played around with some things where I could be going with the triple Warden, and so I really take away that punching power, but now I have 3 heavies that can protect me even more. They can slam things around, they can throw things around, and it kind of helps more of my survivability and board control. They can also be there to be doing some shield guards as well. Like shield guards for Thexus doesn't really matter because I automatically sack pawn, but if I'm up against something that ignores stealth, I can be by my other Cephalix things like the Mindbender guy, and I can shield guard him. So it'd be nicer for that, but I lose a lot of punch because in order to get that in, I need to drop my Agitator, meaning that their POW is 14, and that's really, really bad. I could maybe try and find some way to make it double Warden 1 Wrecker, so I at least have something, but then I have to make one of my units a min unit, or I need to drop a unit of press, something, and I'm just not really happy with those builds. So again, even though I'm kind of tempted to try out this triple Warden thing, I really feel that Thexus list is exactly where it wants to be. The only other one that I feel is a strong one that I might want to try eventually is the good old double Wrecker, triple Mindbender, triple Mindslaver, so you get double free Overlords, and then you still have room for, I believe, 2 Agitators. So now you're just getting another free 8 points, but I'm not as far up the board. I could do a lot more for my Adrenal Floods, and my infantry can do a lot more stuff, but that's more of an attrition style list as opposed to a board control style list. So I'd have to be kind of taking that switch. So plus I'd have to go and buy and paint 20 more drudges, because I only have right now double of each. So that one is pretty much where it wants to be. The other list I took, that was my Magnus Buccaneer Brigade. So that's Magnus with the Nomad, Talon, 14 Buccaneers, and then Anastasia. This one didn't come in as much. The only game where I felt it was the best drop was the one against Menoth, which I screwed up. But the thing is like that Thexus list is so powerful that often when I looked at the matchups, it's like, well, no, I want to go Thexus. So I have to go there, right? If somebody has an answer to the Buccaneers because they have shifting stones and they can just go on top, or they have Abbey 2 and they can just say flying time and go over top. If I can't keep you out, Buccaneers are over. I feel that's a very strong list. Lots and lots of Buccaneers. Anastasia lets me get that first turn when I really need it. It's just that maybe just the matchups I was going into, right? If I saw some other matchups that wasn't, like I saw 2 Abbey 2s. So that might be an issue. But I do like the list. You know, you can change it up in different ways where you can be adding in more nomads. I really believe my old one with the Galleon isn't as viable anymore because the Galleon's so much more expensive in relation to the other options you can take. So I do have other ones I've made with like double Nomad, triple Nomad, or double Nomad and also a freebooter because he's cheap as all hell and can do some fun stuff. But that one's I'm kind of happy. The only thing I'm kind of wondering is as the pairing, right? I'm wondering if as the pairing, it's better to take away that one and add in Siphon with 6 Wreckers or something like that, just to get that really big smash in. I'm going to have to play around with that. So either way, those are my lists, and I'm still pretty happy with them. So let's talk a little bit now about the actual meta that we saw there, because now that we're in Mark III, we want to kind of see where things are going. So with the last Steamroller, it was Khador, 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 Juggernauts, 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 and just armor all over the place. Now, to be fair, there was a lot of Khador here, and there was a lot of armor, but not the same degree. There was a lot more of a different mix. The Khadors were made a little bit differently. One of them that was really neat to see was this Vlad II Uhlans one, which the guy did well with it in Mark II. It's working now for Mark III as well. So it's good to see that was still being different, but just the fact that there were so many things there, and the difference in what you saw and the representation was a lot better. Now this could be because up there in Grand Prairie, they're, you know, I don't want to say like they're not as serious about the game or anything like that, but they do have a lot more fun with the game, right? It's not, we're going to go in there, we're going to crush everybody, right? And I wouldn't say that's really about Edmonton either, but there's a lot more of like, let's just try shit out. Let's go and do this, see what happens, we can always get a drink after. That's one of the reasons why we wanted to be up there. We knew this was going to be a lot of fun, and we saw that in the list. There's a lot of different things that people are trying out, a lot more different factions, and that's amazing. That's exactly what I want to see in Mark III. I don't want to go into Mark III and say like, oh look, there's heavy spam for days. I want to see like people trying out different factions, different builds and all this. And maybe I'm not good for it because I'm still doing spams and stuff. But still, it was really good to see such a big, large variety of lists. And also, like, whereas in the first one there, at the first steamroller I went to, the winners were Khador, and then there was also a circle player that was undefeated. So, I mean, Khador kind of ruling the day. In this one here, the final table came down between Legion and Cygnar, so different there, and Cygnar took it. So it was actually a Striker 3 list, and it was neat because I talked about before where that one circle list with the Boulder 2 and my defense is high because of Star-Crossed and high armor, that the way that was to answer that was Striker 3. They got the play, and it was like pop feet, I auto hit you, I get the extra damage, which is going to do more than your +2 armor spell, and boom, say goodbye to all your wolves. So interesting to see that one counter. You know, now, before I was like, Striker 3, I don't want to really get into that. And now, me as a Cygnar player is saying, maybe I should be looking into Striker 3. I've been trying to find something to be pairing with Kane 2, and maybe that's the right pairing, which is actually funny because that's his pairing, with Striker 3 and Kane 2, whereas the Legion player, I believe, was Lilith 3 and Thags 1. So, not even the Abbey 2, right? I really thought the Abbey 2 wanted to be up there, but he's doing some different stuff and having a lot of success with the Lilith 3. So either way, you know, from the meta point of view, it was nice to see that things were a little bit more diverse. The top tables were more diverse. Well, not what you're kind of hearing across the lands where, you know, it's going to be just heavy spam, or it's going to be like Ossian range, or it's going to be, you know, the... Why can't I think of the name? Stop drawing wrong eye. That is, see, now I'm not going to take this out because now I want this to be here so I can slap myself for forgetting this. Star-Crossed. There you go. So it's not a Star-Crossed crazy thing. You know, it's something that was different. So it was really nice to see that. Now let's actually talk about that with the tournament and the whole idea where I knew this was going to be a blast. We went up there knowing that the guys running it were great fun guys. The people up there were great fun guys. And it really showed. Everything was laid back. There was burgers, there was beer, and it was like there's a Nintendo playing in the background you could go have fun with, and a lounge and all these things. It was a really great tournament, guys. I mean, it is a long drive. You know, 4.5 hours is nothing. But, I mean, these guys come down to a lot of our events. So it was definitely a thing where we want to go back there and pay them back. And it's so much fun. Like, this is a great event to go to. It's a 2-day thing, right, with a 5-game and then also the team tournament. The TO was asking me after for some things that maybe that would be good to change, and I felt that the team tournament wasn't really effective because really when people do their 3 games and then they see that this team tournament could potentially go to 1:30 in the morning, yeah, no thanks. I'm going to go do something else. And so maybe it would have been better to do the 5 games all in the first day, go, let's crown our champion, and then the next day do something fun. Like, okay, that's the one where now we'll do the team tournament, or now we're going to be doing a spell draft or whatever. Probably think the team tournament would have been more fun, but whereas we only had 6 teams in the team tournament because most people went to do other things, I think that almost everybody would have gone and you would have like a full set and we'd have, you know, just a more solid tournament that wasn't more so like who's still awake. I mean, the winners of the team tournament were really strong players, and so nothing taking away from them, but it was kind of more, you know, of a thing where you had like this big tournament and then a little bit of game, sleepy time, and then the morning, you know, go back with the main tournament again. And so I think that, again, to move those things and separate them, I mean, late events are usually supposed to be kind of fun anyway, but because you had these awards for it and you wanted to be major. And I think another thing with that too is that there's only prizes for the winning team. And so if you would have had maybe a prize for the second place or the third place, well, that means that once you lose, you might as well, stop, because you can't win anything. Unless, of course, you're just having fun. But especially then when it's late, maybe that was their plan, that if people lose one game, get out of here, go have fun, go do something else. So that could also be part of it, but to me, that's the only thing I'd say. It was well run, great food, great venue, I had a lot of fun, and I'm definitely going to be back next year. So there you go, guys. There's my coverage. If you have any thoughts of, my lists, or, if you want to be poking fun at me, or any questions or on any more of the meta or anything, please just post it down below. And otherwise, I still got more battle reports coming. The next tournament isn't for a little while. It's going to be in August. There'll be another Steamroller, and we'll see if I can get a little bit better results there. So thanks for watching, guys, and bye.